I don't know.
It's like it screams pressure is what it does, but it doesn't scream all in.
Yeah, yeah. And like, so he used the one Phoenix to push away the Overlords, so he could get a proxy pylon on the map and add in his extra gateways. Like he goes up to 6. He was on 3, and he only built the one Phoenix though. Like he committed everything else into building units and gateways. And he did a timing attack like right after Nurchio got done adding spores at every base for the Phoenix. He built another round of drones because they're expect if they're going Phoenix, they're probably going to lift 5-6 drones. Maybe a couple more if they control them really well. So he just did the standard react to what Phoenix is, and DRG hit him with the 8-gate, or 6-gate, which hit hard and killed Nurchio like big time. And Genius's force fields were insane the whole day. Like, oh my god, his force fields were good.
And Bright, look, 37 probes. I was pretty close.
Yeah, well, you said about 34. I said it was a little bit more.
35.
Okay, all right. But yeah, I was just really sick build. And then against 4GG, I liked even more because it wasn't necessarily a build, it was just like mind games. Like on Belshir Vestige, he played like the turtle, like macro turtle. He played like super standard macro, like Colossus into Storm, 3 bases. 4GG did like a Doom drop, which sniped the Nexus. He sniped the 3rd too, and Genius like just rebuilt them and went across the map. And he's like, I'm gonna light pressure you while I'm getting my economy back up. And it was just like this really long, drawn out macro game that Genius ended up coming ahead. At one point in the game, Genius was quite far across the map, about to attack, and he saw 4GG coming across because he had observers like literally everywhere, like in a very long macro game versus Terra, and he was just playing really safe. And he decided to go home and defend, which like clearly won him the game there because 4GG committed to it a little bit too much, and he wasn't able to pick up all his army because he ran into the natural, like sniped the natural Nexus, and then like ran up into the main and then tried to load up and flood out. But Genius killed enough that 4GG wasn't able to rebuild before he went across and attacked. So in that macro game, it was really cool just to see Genius play a straight up macro game like that, especially where I feel like he was behind at a couple of points. And then into game 2, like right after playing a super long sick macro game, he does Nexus into a 4-gate. And 4GG was like across the map already with his army, like moving out, do a light pressure because he thought, well, maybe he's going to play super greedy again. And he caught 4GG's army out on the map with some really good force fields, and then just went in and killed him. Like, super quick game. His variation, I just love it. Any thoughts, you guys?
I don't know. I think that's so risky to do that 4-gate crap. I don't think that works. But obviously, if they move out, it works. Like, but that's a lot.
Yeah, but I think it's different doing builds in tournaments. Well, it's definitely different doing builds in tournaments than it is one ladder.
Of course it is.
And he went from the one side of the spectrum to the complete other,
right.
too. Like, super hard macro, not gimmicky at all. Like, even playing a little safe on the safe side, which when you say Genius, you don't really think of on the safe side, but it was. And then, as absolutely all in as you could get, without doing like a 1-base 4-gate.
Yeah. No, but I'm assuming Genius probably looked over 4GG's replays and see, he saw he likes to do this move out thing.
4GG goes triple CC like all the time too, so that would also punish that.
Well, not even. Bunkers are good. I mean, I think the fact that he caught the army out, that's what wins you the game there.
Yeah.
But I know it's good. He probably, he saw it ahead of time.
Okay. Well, why don't we go ahead and take a break, unless anybody has anything else they'd like to talk about WCS-wise? No?
No, let's do it.
Alright, so we'll take a 3-minute break, and we will catch you back for the second half of the show, where we're going to talk about strategy. We will be right back.
My Skype.
Desert nights under lonely stars, cruising down a highway takes me farther from home. Whiskey and regret, neither can erase the fact that I have done wrong. on my shoulders. My conscience carried a weight of blood. Cigarette smoke and shadow. A neon cactus in the night. Did what I did 'cause I thought that I had no choice. But there's always another way. Oh, look to the moon and stars. Somewhere underneath them, she's there. Never even spoke to her. Words of love held in my heart. If she heard now, would she still care? Wonder if she's thinking of me. Does she hate me for what I've done? I wish that I could change everything and go back. Now that my last chance is gone, it's gone. Who will you tell her for me?
All right, we are back, kind of.
Okay.
What do you mean, kind of?
Kind of. I mean, the audio's live, and there we are. Okay. Can I just say I love the second half of the show because I have like all these tabs open and like shit to like link to VODs and link to brackets and everything, and then I can just be like close window, close, and it's just rewarding. I don't know. But anyway, all right.
Sick.
Yeah, that's the highlight of my my hosting.
My week.
Yeah. But anyway, so second half of the show, we want to talk about strategy. Both, I think you wanted to balance it, kind of, right? You wanted to do like ladder strategy and then like tournament
I just wanna talk
strategy.
about, like, the difference, like specifically, in specifically PvP,
Oh,
there's a big difference in my opinion of how you play on ladder than how you play in tournaments. And Starfire was talking about it with me too the other day.
Yeah.
And I feel like in that matchup, it's more significant. And I mean, it also plays a big role in the other matchups too. But
I think
PvP
it matters most to the race of Protoss. I mean, if you think of Zerg and you think of Terran, even if you're doing it slower than the pros do it, if you're making Marines, you're making Marauders, like if you're making, you can still follow the same exact thing that they're doing, and it'll normally, for the most part, work. As a Protoss player, if you're a few seconds behind with like force fields or energy or something like that, you have to compensate because you're kind of a weaker player in these pros. You can't execute the builds as crisply, and so and also you don't know who you're playing against. So having these prepared strategies, like you often do as Protoss, sometimes doesn't work out depending on what style you're playing against.
Well, I mean, PvP on ladder, a lot of the times,
Oh,
at least for me, I play the same people a lot.
yeah,
So I get metagamed like a lot. So a lot of it is mixing up. You have to just mix up your builds in PvP. Like you just have to. I mean, it doesn't have to be everything, but you can't one gate expand every time, and you can't go Oracle every time, and you can't go
And you
Blink
should
every
scout.
time.
you
I actually
should
think-
scout in ladder.
I think ladder and tournaments, when it comes to mirror matchups, is actually the same. I think it's the
Really?
other matchups that's actually really different, where you take a risk.
I agree.
Because on ladder, you could pretty much do the same thing, and you're just. But like in PvZ or PvT, like for Zergs, it's, like I said, it's really easy to metagame an opponent, so you had to change up your builds. Obviously, you have to do that for the mirror matchups, just because there's hard counters, blind hard counters for each build. I don't know.
And you don't feel like that's there in PvP?
In PvP, I feel like if you
Are
have
you saying there
time
is?
to study your opponent, like look at their match history, or even if you get like longer, like I helped Caliber prepare to play Huck in the Hong Kong esports thing in the finals, and we studied like a month worth of Huck's VODs, and he did basically all the same builds that he had done in the past month. Again, and Caliber just hard countered him the 2 games that he won. It was actually 3 games, but he kind of botched the third one that would have beat him. And in PvP, I feel like if you don't change it up in a tournament, that anybody that gets time to study your replays or your VODs or even look at your match history for a solid 10 minutes, I feel like they can simply just beat you. And I feel like you don't need to scout if you're able to study your opponent. Like, I'm not talking like don't scout at all. I'm talking like you don't need to, are they going to proxy me if you know they're not a proxy player and stuff like that. Whereas I feel like when you ladder, you should be scouting for the proxies. You should be scouting your opponent's base to see, what tech they're doing early on. But I feel like in tournaments, that's not necessarily the case.
Well,
Are you guys seeing another trend shift away from? I know when Heart of the Swarm first came out, Blink was I think it was Fast Dark Shrine that was really popular. And I think people started going Robo expands after that, and then after that we started seeing the Stargate play. It's the cycle. And are you seeing it kind of even out where everyone's kind of doing a mixture of it, or are we in another shift where a lot of people are going for Stargate play where they used
The
to go
PvP
for,
metagame is like, it moves so fast you can't
Yeah.
even.
it's a circle now, actually,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which is why I said it doesn't really matter in tournaments, because you should be playing in a circle when it comes to like a best of series in PvP. And I think when it comes to mirror matchups, whatever you could do, they could do. So it becomes down to builds. Which is why I said it's pretty much the same thing as a ladder. If you don't have like a PvP on Whirlwind, if you do the same, if a person just has a better build than you, pretty much you'll lose from there.
Especially
I
on
get that.
Whirlwind.
Especially
The same
Whirlwind.
thing.
That map's so stupid. For PvP, nothing like, just like, even if you want to scout, if you go to their base last, you're just, okay, guess
Well,
I gotta do what I gotta do.
I think Blink Stalkers are bad against most things, but Blink's still a good build because of how popular Stargate is. You know what I mean? So, and there was a while where I wasn't seeing Oracles or Phoenixes much, but now I'm seeing it a lot. So now I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go Blink again. I haven't gone Blink in a long time. So you just keep kind of cycling it up.
I mean, Blink is probably the safest opening in PvP right now. Like Blink, Robo, just going back to the old Wings build. Go Blink,
Camp
Robo,
Observer.
expand. Yeah,
If they
it's-
one gate expand
it's
though,
It's probably the safest. Well, yeah, but if you expand behind it, you can still use your stalkers to like send 4 inside the main and then pick off probes. Like
You have to.
you could find ways to pick them apart and get back in the game, which is why I would say Blink's probably the safest.
Anytime you do that for stalkers into the main, also have the rest of your army like close by, just in case they overreact, ready to force field the naturals ramp for anybody that, like, if you're not a high level Protoss player, even if you are and you don't do that, you should always, whenever you're blinking into their main, have a sentry with your army kind of by their nat with a force field ready, because even in like high masters and low GM, people make that mistake. It happens. Like I've seen Huck win games because he's like, oh shit, he overreacted, boom, force fielded. Or even time warp. Time warp's huge on the ramp, and you can do a lot
Yeah.
of damage that way too.
Well, if it's 4 Stalkers, you can literally leave 1 immortal. Like you don't need that much. But,
I think 4 stalkers beats 1 immortal if you micro it, right?
Yeah, and you can outrun them and you get to the probe line. with
Yeah.
one probe there, like easily.
I don't think so. Maybe, but you would outrun them. How? You blinked in there. Like they would have to run past the immortal.
Yeah, but stalkers are way faster on foot than an immortal. Like,
Yeah, but you'd lose 2 Stalkers on the way, and then you have 2
Yeah.
Stalkers.
not two, but maybe
And
one.
it's
They 2-shot Stalkers, don't they? Or yeah,
Three.
they do not 2-shot
It's
stalkers.
3 or 4. Yeah, it's like 3 or
it's
4.
3. I don't
You're
know.
overestimating it. Like
They
it's 3 or
kill
4.
Stalkers fast.
They 2-shot every Zerg unit. Does that make you feel